Hi, and welcome to the TheGymbox Yoga. My name is John. For the next 30 minutes in our yoga practice, we're going to work on our sun salutations, and we're going to work on a special pose called tree pose. Now, tree pose is a one-legged balancing posture. It's a great first-time balancing pose that we'll work on, and I'll give you some variations of the pose so that you can do it at home. Alrighty, let's work at the top of the mat. Be sure your toes are pointing directly forward. Give yourself a little space between your toes and the front edge of your mat. And be sure that your feet are about hip distance apart. Right there. You want to feel strong, sturdy, and balanced here. Now, feel free to close your eyes and just pay attention to your breathing. As you're focused on your breath, also be aware of your body and how you feel while you stand here tall and proud in mountain pose. Be aware of the balance in your body, the shift of weight from side to side. Just be aware if you have weight shifting to your left side or to your right side, or feel like you're moving forward or falling backward. Just kind of adjust the body and stand nice and tall so the energy is moving upward. Now your inhale will help the lengthening of the spine and also to help you feel lighter up top. Sometimes we put a lot of weight in our hips and our low back, even in our knees and ankles, because we feel heavy in our own bodies. So we want to feel lifted. And inhale to extend the spine. Feel the breath move up into your chest, filling up your lungs. And on your exhale, a nice connection to your core, your abdominal muscles. When you exhale, just feel the contraction of your abdominals so you feel tight and strong, balanced right here. This also will help with our balancing poses here when you feel steady. Alrighty, let's prepare to move. A very simple warm-up. We're going to inhale, extend the arms overhead. A good reaching sensation. Feel like you're stretching. Let's exhale, just bring the arms back down by your side. That's all. Okay, let's do that 2 more times. Inhale, reach up. Good stretch here. You can look up if that feels okay on your neck. Then exhale, bring the arms right back down by your side. Do that 1 more time. Inhale, reaching up. Look up if it feels good. Then exhale, come back down. All right, we're going to continue moving. We'll add on. Inhale, reach nice and high. Big stretch. Exhale, swan dive. Now it's a hinge from your hips. Bend your knees as much as you need to. Feel like you're sitting back into a chair, just like this. Come down to the floor. Maybe your fingertips touch the floor, just like this. Then inhale, slide your hands very lightly up your shins. Shift your weight forward out towards your toes. Monkey pose, just coming to a flat back. Exhale, round the back, slide your hands back down to your toes. Very simple here. Inhale, let's stand up all the way, reaching up to the sky. Let's do that again. Let's exhale, swan dive, come forward, feel like you're sitting back into a chair. You're supporting your back as you do this, using your leg muscles to support the fold. Inhale, monkey pose. See how my body shifts forward here. Then exhale, release, come back down, forward fold. Let's reverse the swan, come all the way back up, reaching nice and high. We'll do that 1 more time. Very simple sequence as we warm up. Exhale, here we go, swan dive, right back down to your toes. Bend your knees as much as you need to here. Inhale, lengthening through the spine. Then exhale, come back down. Then reverse, a full inhale, lifting yourself back up. Exhale, bring the hands to heart center. Just pause here for a moment. Just a very simple sequence just to get the body moving and moving with the breath. All right, let's continue. We're going to make our way down to the floor. Some nice deep lunges. We're going to inhale here, reaching up nice and high. Exhale, swan dive. Using the breath, using the exhale to help support the body here as you make your way down to your toes. Inhale, here's our spinal extension, monkey pose. Now on the exhale, just bring the hands to the floor. Bend your knees as you need to. Lift your left foot and just start moving it back to the back edge of your mat. Just keep stepping back or wiggle the toes back, just like this. You're going to bring that left knee to the floor. Now if this is a little rough on your knees, do this. Just fold your mat. or if you have a towel or a blanket or something like that, just to help pad your knee. That's nice. I just fold the mat. It's handy. Okay, you're going to rise up here, bring the hands to your thigh, just like this. Now, you're going to creep your toes forward just a little bit so your ankle and your toes are well out in front of your knee, because we're going to lunge, getting a nice stretch for the hips, but especially through the left hip flexor right there. All right, you're going to inhale, grow nice and tall, just like you were standing in mountain pose. Exhale very slowly, very gently. Start shifting your hips forward, just like this. So just moving yourself very carefully and slowly into a deep lunge, okay? Now the reason why we move the foot forward, just to ensure that no matter how deep you go into your lunge, your knee stays stacked nicely over your ankle. Want to avoid this sensation, just watch. Want to avoid this, where your knee is going too far past your ankle or your toes. It puts a little bit too much pressure on your knee or your shin or even your ankle. Right there. So we want to support the body. Alrighty. Hopefully you're feeling a nice stretch right through here. I certainly am. It's a nice hip flexor opener. Okay. Let's release, come out of the pose. We're going to bring the hands to the floor. We're going to unfold the mat. And just make your way back up to the top of the mat, even if it takes several tries to bring your left foot back up to the top. Inhale, monkey pose. We're going to do the other side. Exhale, bend the knees, find the floor. Let's move the right foot back. Just several steps, or you can take one big step if you can. Let's set the knee onto the floor, pat it as you need to here. Let's rise up, hand on the thigh. Don't forget to creep your toes forward. If you know that you can go pretty deep into the posture, then you really want to send those toes far out in front of you. Let's be nice and tall up here. You want to have the extended spine so your breath feels like it's filling up your lungs. Then here's our exhale, gently moving the hips forward. Again, even if you are pretty flexible in your hips, you don't have to force or push into the posture. Take your time. Inhale, nice lifting and lengthening here. Exhale, maybe a little deeper if it feels okay. If it feels like, well, this is about as far as I can go, then just hold right there and just continue breathing. That's the best thing to do. Just hold the pose and stay connected to the breath. Feel that nice stretch, nice opening sensation in the right hip flexor. Now we're doing this in a way to prepare for our tree pose. Tree pose is not only a balancing posture, but also opens up the hips a little bit. All right, let's release the pose. Come out. Bring the hands to the floor. Let's unfold our mat. Make our way back up to the top of the mat. Just shift your weight forward, and here's the toes right up at the top of the mat. Inhale, monkey pose, and a fold. Exhale. Let's reverse the swan dive. Let's come all the way back up to standing, reaching nice and high. Bring the hands to heart center. Okay. All right, we're gonna do that same thing without bringing the knee to the floor. Okay. Take a few breaths. And ready to move. Here we go. Inhale, extend the arms up. Nice lengthening sensation. Grow tall. Exhale, let's swan dive. Slowly and easily, take your time. Inhale, monkey pose. Here's our flat back. Exhale, hands to the floor. Let's move that left foot back. Here. Now we're not kneeling this time, but just brace your body. Feel like you're holding on to a block, perhaps, between your thighs, and you have to squeeze to hold on to it. That'll give you strength in your hips. Also, if your left leg here is loose, feel your heel push back, giving strength in that back leg. That will help you to lift yourself up, okay? Right up to the sky, just like that. I'm going to do that again, because you can also just bring your hands to your thigh and maybe gradually lift yourself up here. And then extend the arms up. Be sure you're still squeezing, holding on to the imaginary block. Okay, this is our pose. A nice lifting sensation, but also sinking a little bit here too. Inhale. Exhale, reach forward. Maybe just bring the hands back to your thigh. That's fine. Bring the hands to the floor. A little push. I like to bend the knee here and give yourself a little push to make your way back up to the top of the mat. Let's do the other side. Monkey pose. Exhale, hands down. Just maneuver the right foot back. You want to be sure as you're stepping back, you your feet are still hip distance apart. That'll give you good balance in your body. Okay, let me activate my legs, squeezing to the inside, push the right heel back behind you, activating a good anchor. Okay, let's make our way up. Kind of crawl up the body. Reach up. This is a high lunge or crescent moon lunge. Let's hold there. Nice breathing sensation, reaching up and also deepening the pose if that feels okay. Inhale, exhale, reach forward. Bring the hands to the floor. Let's make our way back up to the top. Little push right here. Inhale, monkey pose. And fold. Let's reverse the swan, coming all the way back up. Now let's keep moving. We're going to make that same sequence flow. Here we go. Exhale, swan dive. Just going to keep it all moving. Inhale, monkey pose. Hands to the floor. Lift your left foot. Step back. Take several steps if you need to. Engage inner thighs. Lift up. Lift. Reach. That's the inhale. Exhale. Come right back down to the floor. Step up. Back up to the top of the mat. Inhale. Monkey pose. And fold. Ready to go to the other side. Take your time. If I'm getting a little bit ahead of you, that's okay. Just take your time. Very simple sequence. Just make your way here. High lunge. On the exhale, come back down. Step back up to the top. Long spines. And fold. Let's reverse the swan dive. Come all the way back up. Reach high. Hands to heart center. Very good. Alrighty. That's a very simple sequence, but I can already feel a little heart race just increasing there. So it really gets the heart rate up, even just doing a very simple sequence like that. Alrighty. We're going to make our way down to the floor. We're going to do another hip opener before we move into our tree pose. Let's inhale, extend the arms up. Exhale, swan dive. Remember, you can bend those knees, sit back like you're finding a chair. Inhale, monkey pose. Bring the hands to the floor. Now carefully walk both feet back here to plank. Not going to be here long. We're going to modify it. Bring the knees to the floor. Hold here for just a moment. And then just sit back into hero pose. Just onto the haunches. Not going to be here long because this can be a little tight on the knees, thighs, or even your ankles. We're just going to take a seat onto the floor. Coming to Cobbler's pose. Okay, so you're going to sit here just like this. Bring the bottoms of your feet together. Draw the heels in relatively close to your body. But you know what? You don't have to have them really close. Even if the feet are a little bit farther forward, that's okay. As long as you feel a sensation in the inner thighs, okay, as a stretching and opening sensation, then you're doing the pose correctly. That's all it really is. If you can, scoop up your toes, just hold on there, or your ankles here, or if you can't reach them, just hold on to your shins. You want to be able to sit up nice and tall. Either way, it's a hip opener. Okay? Just like standing in mountain pose, be sure you're standing or sitting up nice and tall, just like this. Come back to your breathing effort. Breath rising. Exhale to connect to your core. If you need a little bit more sensation with this pose, feel free to hinge forward just a little bit. Just like that. It doesn't have to be much. I already feel that in my inner thighs. It's a nice stretch. Alright, let's just take a few more breaths. Now this pose, just the way the legs are angled here like this and getting this stretch on the inner thighs, is another sensation you'll feel when we're standing in tree pose. Alrighty, let's lengthen the spine just like this. Alrighty, let's come back onto our hands and knees, just like this. Go ahead and walk the hands forward just a little bit. Come up onto your toes. We move into downward facing dog. So just lift your hips and push back. Now your knees can stay very bent here too. They're not going to stay here long. Just look up at your hands and walk up to your hands, just like this. Stay folded, but be sure your toes are pointing directly forward. Feet are hip distance apart. Let's take a monkey pose here and fold. Let's reverse the swan dive. Come all the way up to standing. There we are. Bring the hands to heart center. Now we're ready for our tree pose. Once again, let's stand nice and tall. Be sure your feet feel rooted and connected into the earth, okay, just like the roots of a tree. The trunk of the tree is the legs here, very strong, very sturdy. The center of the tree, strong in your core and very light up top. Alrighty, now I'm going to be opposite of you, okay? So shift your weight onto your left foot, okay? Now lift your right foot just like this. You're going to turn the knee out just like that and just place this foot on the inside of your standing leg. Okay, this is a good mid-range of placing the foot right there. Now you can go a little bit lower if you feel like you're going to wobble and fall, okay? Go ahead and place your toes on the floor like that, okay? And just the heel is against your shin, just like that, okay? And it'll just help you to stand up nice and tall. You bring your hands to heart center. So we can keep the foot low or a little bit medium, or if you want to go for it, come up to the inner thigh, right up here. Alrighty, now one thing to be aware of doing this pose, if your foot is on your knee joint, let's move the foot away from the knee joint, okay? Because that can actually put pressure or too much pressure on the knee. Go ahead and slide it down or even lower here, or bring it up a little higher. You choose. This is a good spot. I like this spot. Hands to heart center. And if you still feel like you're wobbling about, do this near a wall. Imagine there's a wall right here, and just place your hand against the wall, just to help with your balance. Stand up nice and tall. And this is the hip opener, so you can see the knee. I like to think of this like a swinging door, just opening up there, and the knee is just pointing towards the side of the room. This is tree pose. Okay, for a little extra effort, if you'd like, you don't have to, but you can extend the arms up towards the ceiling, just like branches of a tree. So it's a nice, strong, balancing pose. All right, let's come back down. Let's close the swinging door and bring the foot down to the mat. Rebalance. Okay? What you'll find in standing on one foot is that your ankles will get very strong, and of course that whole standing leg will get a lot of strength building too. Let's do the other side. So shifting your weight to your right side, right there. Lifting your left foot, same thing. Just open the swing door and just place the foot on the inside of the standing leg. Here's another thing to be aware of. Okay? You want the foot to be pressing into your leg, and your leg is actually pushing back into your foot. So imagine maybe your hands like this were just pressing very firmly, very strongly together. You're doing the same thing there, helping to hold your body together. Here, same thing, navel's pulling in towards your spine. And with a nice inhale, grow tall, reaching up with the arms if you can, just like that. Don't forget, you can modify the pose. Bring your toes to the floor. I'm going to modify this. Reaching just like this. This still works. Okay? If you're still wobbling, don't forget, do this near a wall. So here's my imaginary wall right here. Holding on. So that's our tree pose. Let's go ahead and close the door and just bring the foot back down to the mat. All right, let's return to the top and flow our way back down. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, swan dive. Inhale, monkey pose. Hands to the floor. Let's step the left foot straight back. Let's rise here. Just flowing, just like our last sequence. Bring the hands back down to the floor. Step up to the top of the mat. Inhale, monkey pose. Exhale and fold. Right foot steps back. Inhale, rise up. Take your time here. Reaching high. Exhale. Hands to the floor. Step up to the top. Monkey pose. And fold. Let's reverse the swan dive. Come all the way up. Reaching high. Let's bring the hands to heart center. Let's do our tree poses once again, very quickly. Weights on your left foot. Lift your right. Place it on the inside of your standing leg. Low, medium, or high. Press. together, the leg and the inside of the foot, right there. This is good. Just a tree pose, couple of breaths. Tree poses help with balance and focus. So pick something out in front of you, maybe over the television, and ride out to a point on the wall, to a space that's not moving. So it's a nice focus. Okay, let's turn that knee forward, bring it back down, rebalance. Let's do the other side. Shifting the weight, lift the other foot, place it on the inside of the standing leg, press them together. Be sure your core is engaged, helping you with the standing posture. Modify if you need to. Bring the toes to the floor. You know, sometimes you can be in this pose and you keep stepping the foot down. Guess what? That's okay. That happens because you're going to find that your body will get used to, oh, I can do this standing on one foot. It just takes practice. And that's what this is all about. It's a yoga practice. All right, let's bring the knee back to center, set the foot down. Let's go through our flow, making our way all the way down to the floor. Here we go. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, swan dive. Monkey pose here. Let's bring the hands to the floor. Let's walk both feet back to plank pose. Modified, bring the knees to the floor. And then just sit back briefly into hero pose. Let's go ahead and take a seat. Let's come back to our cobbler pose. This is great because these are good complements to one another. The cobbler pose and then the standing tree pose. These are both hip openers. Our inner thighs, even our outer hips out here can get a little tight. Alrighty. If it feels good, start to hinge forward just a little bit here. Just get reconnected to the breath. I'm going to give you another modification or a variation of this pose. We're going to do it lying down. Just a moment here. Let's take another full breath. And just rise back up, re-extending the spine. Nice and tall here. I'm just going to turn. Okay, carefully maybe round your back and carefully bring your body down to the floor. Go ahead and bring your knees in towards your heart. Just like that. We're going to take the legs wide. Okay, just take them out side to side. Just continuing the hip opener, inner thighs, a little stretch here. I'm using my hands, just a little press, okay? Outward and downward from the inside of my legs here, just to help with that inner thigh stretch. All right, now we're going to bring the bottoms of the feet together here. All right, if you can, reach up, grab hold of your toes or your ankles, just like that, and gently press the heels down towards the pelvis, right here. And the toes are pointing straight up towards the ceiling. Just do your best. Now imagine your legs here are like a big book. And you're going to open your book nice and wide, pushing the knees forward. There we go. Now this mimics what we just did seated. And this is called a reclining cobbler's pose. Same effort, same opening of the inner thighs. Here you don't have to worry about having to lengthen your spine because you're lying down. So this feels good, and it's a nice variation of the pose. All right, just a few more breaths here. This feels very nice. So you can really concentrate on the hip opening. So the heels are pressing down, knees are pushing forward. There we go. I feel that now. All right, I'm going to release. Bring the knees back together. Give yourself a well-deserved hug here. Let's go for a spinal twist. You want to be sure your spine is nice and flat. So to begin, be sure your knees, you can pull them up towards your heart. And with a little effort, try to press your lower back right down into the floor. That'll help lengthen the spine. And that's a good idea to do that before we twist our bodies. So here we go. We're going to bring the knees down to the left side, very carefully. I like to reach the right hand overhead. This helps to lengthen the spine a little bit. And then just take it out to the side. You can even turn your head in the same direction as your right hand. A little neck stretch. But really, this is giving yourself a nice stretch and opening in the low back, even in your hip. I'm using this hand here, pressing down on that top leg. So it feels like I'm opening up in two directions here. Just a few more breaths. All right, very carefully, let's return to center. Bringing the knees back up towards the heart. Re-lengthening the spine. So feel the knees draw in. Lower back pressing down towards the floor. There we go. And take the knees down to the other side very carefully here. It's okay if the knees don't make it all the way down to the floor. If you have a block, you can actually just place a block on the underside of that bottom leg, just to help support the pose. All right, here we go. Extend the left hand up and overhead. Nice lengthening and stretch here to the side body, and then take it out to the side. Let's hold here for a few more breaths. This is a great stretch. One, because you get to relax a little bit here too. But it really does open up things that might get a little tight in the hips and your low back. So a good stretch. Even if you don't do any other yoga practice, okay, maybe you just need to stretch a little bit. Just come onto the floor and come to a spinal twist. Well, it takes about 2 or 3 minutes. All right, ready to return to center right here. Go ahead and extend the legs straight out in front of you, nice and long, straight as can be. This is Shavasana, or corpse pose. And just take the arms out to the side. Here we get to disengage, just release. We did a lot of engaging where everything's squeezing and pressing inside, even the core fully engaged. Here in this nice relaxing pose, we get to just open the body. Just feel yourself melt into the earth. Just take a few moments here. Feel free to close your eyes. Let's take 3 very slow breaths here. And just remember, feel free to stay here as long as you'd like. When you are ready to move, maybe just walk your feet back in towards your body. Carefully roll onto either side, just like this. Maybe a few breaths here. Very nurturing style pose. A few breaths. Very relaxing. Use the breath, use your hands to help guide your way back up to a seated posture. Just fold your legs here, whatever feels comfortable. This is easy pose, just a simple crossing of the legs. This is half lotus. This is a little bit more comfortable for me, so I like to sit like this. Okay, so this is half lotus. I'm going to be sure you're sitting up nice and tall. Take a few more deep breaths. In your stillness, in your silence here, in your seated posture, just acknowledge your practice. And more importantly, acknowledge yourself. Just bring the hands to heart center. As we connect to the breath, we connect to ourselves. Having moved through our practice today, finding balance, strength, and also some opening from within. And as we come to the close of our practice today, we bow together saying, Namaste.